The Jesus Trilogy, Book 1, The Four Messiahs, Chapter 59. Judas heard the final bell. It was Thursday afternoon. He was on cloud nine. He could not have been happier. He was headed south tomorrow to play the game of his life, and he had finally figured out a way to win a lot of money. He also had gotten a letter from Gentile yesterday in which she had sent her love. She was going to be at the game, and he could stay at her place that weekend. Cloud nine was all over him today. He got up, waved goodbye to Jesus, and headed home to get packed. He whistled the new top 40 tune, Lemon, by the Siege Engines. Judas knew their lead singer, a guy from Capernaum named Rehoboam, ancestor of the great Judean king. Stage name was Reb. Judas Iscariot? Judas turned to see a little man in a dark suit. Yeah, what can I do for you? I'd like to talk to you for a minute. The little man approached Judas. His dark face was stern and hardened with deep lines of the sun. I'm kind of in a hurry, Judas demurred. He didn't want to sit and talk. He was too happy and had too much to do. Pack, get a nice gift for Gentile, and get a new do. He also was wary of strangers. He had many suspicious so-called acquaintances. This won't take long, the cold voice said. What do you want? Judas asked, a shortness to his high-pitched voice. The little man stepped toward him and put a hand on his arm. Despite his small size, the grip was strong. Hey, Judas winced. Okay. Judas was strong, but he was a wimp at heart. The other horsemen always got on him for not running into the huge tackles to get the extra yard. Whenever he broke a long one, they would shut up right away. Let's step over here and sit on this bench. You've already had 2 minutes, Judas snapped, but he stepped toward the guy anyway. I understand you got a big game coming up this weekend. So we'd like to help you win. How are you going to help me do anything? Judas could not stifle his long-time pattern of belligerence, despite his gut feeling that this guy might be trouble. And who is we? I only see one of you. The stranger glanced meaningfully over the street where 2 really large gentlemen, also in dark suits, were chatting idly. Judas looked at the 2, then back at the stranger. Got a name? Ching Lin. Haven't I met you before? Yes, you have, Ching said. Yeah, the Chinaman. Judas' skin began to crawl with a cold sweat. He now knew exactly who this man, or was it a beast, was. I believe it was 4 years ago at a party. Ching Lin of Canton, China, the head of the Asian mob, possibly the most powerful man in the world save Caesar. His organization was known to every bookie, hustler, gambler, and con artist in all Judea and in all the continent of Asia. What on earth does he want with me? Judas thought. Ching Lin read his mind and said, I think we can derive a mutual benefit from the game on Saturday. Why me? I'm just a high school kid, Judas said. Over here and sit, son. My old Chinese bones tire easily. Judas and Ching Lin walked over and sat on a nearby park bench. So how can I help you, Mr. Ching Lin? Ching bowed, surprising Judas. You know, son, I can't reveal my current position, but I will tell you a little of my background. Now we're getting somewhere. So, well, I was born in Canton, China, and took over my father's business as a merchant. For years I traveled the eastern caravan routes. Then one day I saw a star and followed it to Judea. Whoa! Judas held up his hands. Son, just hear me out. The sternness in Ching's voice commanded respect, and Judas continued to listen. Well, it led us to meet the Messiah in person. He was just a baby then. After that wonderful experience, I continued my merchant travel. One day someone stashed some opium in my packs in Tashkent. When I got to Damascus, I was sought out by the leading opium dealer. He wanted his opium, but I demanded a lot of money in return for taking such a risk. To my surprise, he paid it. Well, things escalated from there, and soon I was the largest opium dealer in the world. I regret every minute of my life since that day, but there is no turning back. I am what I am. Begging your pardon, sir, but I have information to the contrary. Your reputation in the Circle is well known. The Circle was the name of the Judean syndicate controlling gambling, prostitution, etc. Judas had done a few favors for some of the members, but aside from having seen them at parties, he really didn't know any of them. Begging your pardon, sir. Don't beg. It's a sign of a coward, and I hate cowards. Sorry, what's the plan? I'm honorable, Judas said. Good. Now we're on the same page. The point spread Saturday is how much? Ching asked. I heard 7. Actually, it's 7.5 in La Viego this morning. Whatever. We'll beat those thugs no matter how much we're favored by. Why are you so interested in this game? Son, okay, Judas, I'm a man who appreciates sure things, and I mean really appreciates them. In my business, it is essential for success. But it's just a high school game. No, it's a game of great significance. This game is getting more attention than any since the Judah Bowl of 11 AD. Yeah, I was just a kid, but I heard about it. My son Chan played in that game. Really? Judas perked up. Maybe this guy isn't such a creep after all. There was more revenue waged on that game than any other in the last 50 years, nearly 30 million. Who won? I did. I mean, the Sumerian swords did. What position did your son play? Halfback like you? How'd he do? Great, 182 yards, but what? Tore up his ankle on the final play, dislocated it. He never played another game. Ooh, Judas was silent. Mind if I ask what the spread was? Ching, for all his power, was beginning to like this little upstart. 6.5, Ching answered. The Swords were up by 5, and I needed them to beat that spread. My son knew it and told the quarterback to go for 2. Chan got the ball, but as he turned the corner to a wide-open end zone, his foot caught in a hole in the turf and down he went untouched. The rest is history. Final score, 12-7. Wonder what would happen if the world knew that story. Judas knew he better not say any more, but it just came out. Sorry, said meekly. Recovering, he asked, how much did you lose on that one? 10 million. Judas' jaw dropped. Then the crawly feeling returned. This was a man of power, not a man to mess with. I've watched you since you were a kid. You remind me of my son. Talented, but with an arrogance. I'm a humble man. In my opinion, that is what makes superstars, not only in sports, but in life. Thanks for the compliment. Judas is now beginning to feel more comfortable with this guy. So what do you want me to do? Go for 2 if we're up by 6 and make it, like your son did? And believe me, I'll make it. I said I only take sure thing, as I should have done 9 years ago. I want you to make sure you go for 2 and make sure you get the ball. I'll make that 2 for you, sir, Judas said confidently. Respectfully, Judas, the sure thing is for you not to make it. Judas thought a moment. I suppose, but what if we're farther ahead? You won't be. Bet we will. Ching looked Judas straight in the eye. I strongly recommend that you be no farther ahead than 1 touchdown. I am allowing you the opportunity to win this game of the decade, but I must have that sure thing. Judas looked down on the ground and then at the huge ring on Ching's left hand. You think we're going to lose, don't you? Well, I got news for you. We're going to pound Jerusalem East into dust. As he said this, he pounded his right fist into his left hand with a force that made him wince. There was a silence for a minute, then Ching spoke. I repeat, I have given you the chance to win this game or to lose it. I only request that there be no rout, that there be a victory of less than 8 points. More silence. Then Ching went on. My sources tell me that this game will be fairly close, that maybe 1 touchdown is going to be the differential. How do they know that? We could win by 30. Judas, my sources are good, very good. They are seldom wrong. If they are, do you fire them? Ching didn't seem to notice this comment and went on. You know a little about gambling, Judas, and you also know quite a bit about football. But the gentlemen I employ know a lot about football and a lot about gambling. They are seldom wrong. So we have to win by 7 or less, Judas said resignedly. His skin wasn't crawling anymore, but he hated being told what to do by anyone, even if it was by the most powerful man in Asia. With that, Ching stood and bowed graciously. Judas realized he better do the same. Ching Lin turned and walked toward the two men in the dark suits. Judas' mind was racing. He was cornered, and he was not going to get a thing out of it. He, Judas, would be providing a service worth $10 million to the Chinaman. Hey, Mr. Ching, what's in it for me? Ching had almost reached the other two men, but now he turned and smiled with his big toothy smile and yelled back to Judas, Glory! Barabbas, I've got a little job for you this weekend, Abel said to his son. Dad, I can't do anything this weekend. You know I got the big game. I got to be fresh, Barabbas reminded his father. Relax. This won't happen until the game is over. But there will be reporters and parties. We're going to pound those Jerusalem East boys into the ground. Son, Abel said sternly, I want you to sit down in this chair and listen very closely to what I tell you. And this weekend you will do exactly what I say. Barabbas sat down disgustedly, folded his arms across his muscular chest, and stared at the floor. He knew better than to argue with his father. His father always was good to him, but what his father said went. There was no slack given for any reason. Barabbas had learned that the hard way. So what do you want me to do, rob the store at Four Corners? Son, Abel said very firmly. What? Son, the boy's tone was lower as Barabbas sighed in irritation. You've got a big game this weekend. Oh? What usually happens at the end of the game? The bell sounds and we head for the locker rooms. You know that? What happens to the footballs? The refs take them and lock them up. How about the game ball? It's usually presented to the guy who had a real good game, Johnny or Judas or someone. As his father remained silent, Barabbas' mind jumped ahead. So you want me to steal a football? Really, Dad, I'll buy you one. No, I want you to throw it. What? Throw the game? No, the football. Dad, I throw it all during the game. I know. I want you to throw it after the game. What's in it? A bomb? Abel didn't say anything, but stared coldly at his son. Okay, what's the plan? Barabbas was used to plans and plots. He had been involved in a few and had a scar on his right forearm to prove it. Thankfully, it was not on his throwing arm. When the game ends, when the bell sounds, I want you to get the game football and throw it. Throw it where? Over the city wall. What? I want you to get the ball and throw it over the city wall. Dad, that wall is over 100 feet high. I know. Can you do it? I don't know. Maybe. This is crazy. What on earth is in the ball? I can't tell you that, son. I just want you to throw the game ball over the wall. It's going to be a mob scene. I'll probably never get a hold of it. The other team might have it at game's end. Maybe I won't even have access to it. Barabbas was flabbergasted. Who dreamed up this stupid plan anyhow? It'll never work. Son, the future of the Judean people as a nation hinges on the success of this scenario. You must throw that ball and you must get it over the wall. Can you do it? I don't know. I think so. Son, you have to. The papers say you have the strongest arm in all Judea. Coach Vincenti says you can throw the ball 80 yards in the air. That's 240 feet. The arc must be 100 feet high. Everything is riding on your left arm. I can't get into this. I got a big game. Coach says we have to have full concentration. The other three horsemen will kill me if we don't win this game. You can concentrate all during the game. The game will be over, son. All you have to do is throw the ball over the wall. It will take 10 seconds. Dad, Barabbas stared at the floor. I can't practice that. I won't know. What if I get hurt? You must pray that you don't. God won't allow any harm to come to his precious Messiah. I'm no Messiah, I'm a quarterback. Well, we won't get into that now. Son, you just have to throw this ball. We'll get one of the members to measure the wall height and set up a rope between two palm trees out back, then you can practice. But the wall's also 30 feet wide, maybe more. I just don't know. Son, will you please throw that ball? Barabbas knew it was a request, but also an order. Yes, Dad, I'll do my best.